Let's now tell you a little bit about the history of the G7. The G7 was established in 1975 to discuss global economy, and over the next 4 decades, it has steadily expanded its scope. The leaders of the wealthiest nations put more issues on the table, including peace and security, climate change, and now the coronavirus pandemic. Here is a report on how the G7 has evolved over the years. Take a look.
Protests, group photos, display of camaraderie, and sometimes awkward handshakes. That's the Group of Seven, an alliance of democracies, the world's most influential, most wealthy, together. The G7 represents 58% of the global net wealth. That's around $317 trillion. So when the leaders speak, the world listens intently. Well, to have a better understanding of G7, let's rewind a bit. The year is 1975. The world is reeling from its first oil shock and the resultant financial crisis, forcing the leaders of 6 leading industrial countries to meet in Rambouillet, France. But it started as a group of 6 with Japan, France, US, UK, West Germany and Italy in the elite group. In 1976, Canada joined the group, which henceforth became known as the G7. Well, it didn't end there. In 1997, Russia joined in and the group became known as the Group of 8. But the love for Moscow had a short life. In 2014, Vladimir Putin enraged the Western powers by annexing Crimea. The response was swift. The original members of G7 chucked out Russia, suspending its membership indefinitely. The leaders of G7 meet annually in an informal setting to discuss the most critical issues. Prior to the annual summits, ministers and foreign officers hold multiple meetings to set the tone for the meeting of the global leaders. On the 3rd of June, UK Health Secretary Matt Hancock hosted a G7 meeting of health ministers on Thursday at Oxford University in England.
I think it is a critical moment for us all. And we're here in Oxford, which has played a vital role in the global response to the pandemic. Not just the Oxford vaccine, but also Oxford was the leading place in the recovery trial which led to the discovery that dexamethasone saves lives from COVID.
2 days later, finance ministers from the Group of 7 nations met in London from the Group of 7 leading industrialized nations. They signed a landmark global agreement to make sure giant tech companies pay their fair share.
Well, I'm delighted to announce that today, after years of discussion, G7 finance ministers have reached a historic agreement to reform the global tax system, to make it fit for the global digital age, but crucially to make sure that it's fair, so that the right companies pay the right tax in the right places.
As the G7 leaders engage in discussion on global topics, it's China and Russia, both not part of the grouping, are likely to be the most deliberated upon. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.